Welcome to Contractor Tools. This is a video about managing taxes in Contractor Tools. The first time you create a job in Contractor Tools, it will display the Setup Assistant to help you enter setup information that is needed before you can create an estimate. The first steps in the Setup Assistant take you through setting up your company information and your markups. All that is covered in the company setup video, so I won't go into that here, but what I want to talk about is the step that allows you to enter your tax rates. When you first sign up for Contractor Tools, it prompts for your company name and your zip code. When you enter the zip code, Contractor Tools uses it to obtain the tax rates that apply in that zip code location. The tax rate step of the Setup Assistant displays the name and the percent of each tax rate and allows you to change them if necessary. Tap Next when you're done with each. This will take you through similar prompts for each of the tax rates in your zip code location. The next step allows you to enter the taxability for each of your tax rates. Taxability means which types of costs are taxable and whether they are taxable when you purchase them or when you bill your customers. The Taxable at Purchase section allows you to indicate which types of costs you pay sales tax on when you purchase them. If you turn on a Taxable at Purchase switch, Contractor Tools will automatically calculate and add that sales tax to your estimated costs based on this rate. For example, if you pay sales tax on construction materials, turn on the Material switch and Contractor Tools will automatically add sales tax to all of your estimated material costs. This means you can enter all of your estimated material costs without sales tax and Contractor Tools will automatically add that to your cost. The Taxable at Sales section allows you to indicate which types of costs you charge sales tax on when you bill your customer. For example, if you charge sales tax on materials when you bill your customer, turn the Material switch on. Contractor Tools will automatically add sales tax for materials in your customer invoices. The Invoice Purchase Tax switch allows you to indicate whether to charge your customers for the sales tax you pay on construction costs. For example, if you pay sales tax when you purchase construction materials, do you want to bill your customer for that? Normally you would, but some jurisdictions allow you to apply for a credit for taxes paid on purchases, so in that case you would not pass these costs on to your customer. The prompt for taxable percentage allows you to indicate what percent of your construction costs are taxable. Typically you should leave this at 100%, but in some areas sales tax is based on a percentage of the total cost. In that case, tap Taxable Percentage and enter the taxable percentage. When you're done with this screen, tap Next. This will take you to the Taxability Settings for the next tax rate. There will be one taxability form for each tax rate in your location. Tap Next when you are finished. And now you are ready to enter your first estimate. So this is how you set up your tax information before you create your first estimate. But what if you want to change any of your tax setup information after you set it up? Well, you can go to the home screen, tap on Company Settings, and there you have two menu options to manage the tax settings: tax rates and tax groups. Tax rates are the different rates that apply to a specific location. Each rate represents a different tax authority within the location. Tax groups are how you group multiple tax rates so you can apply them to a job or to individual items in a job. If you do business in multiple tax locations, you will need to set up a separate tax rate for each tax authority and then set up a separate tax group for each tax location. For example, if you do business in two different counties that each have different tax rates or taxability, you would need to set up a separate tax rate for each county and then create a separate tax group for each county to contain the appropriate tax rates and taxabilities for each county. Adding tax rates is pretty straightforward. To add a tax rate, tap plus, enter a name, and a rate. To add a tax group, tap plus, enter a name, and then you assign the tax rates to the group by tapping here. Now it says tax component here because what you're adding to the group isn't just the tax rate, it's the tax rate and the taxability for that rate. So first you select the tax rate here, and then you set the taxability for that rate using these switches. You'll notice that these taxability settings are the same as what we saw in the Setup Assistant earlier in this video. But briefly, you set the Taxable at Purchase switches to calculate taxes on costs when you purchase them, and you set the Taxable at Sale switches to calculate taxes on costs when you bill them to your customer. When you're done here, tap Save. So adding new tax rates and tax groups is easy, but what if you need to change an existing tax rate or tax group? You can do that as long as the tax group has not been used in a job, but you can't change it if it is in use because changing it would change the totals of the job it is used in. Typically, the only reason you would need to change a tax rate or tax group is if the rate of the tax changes. In that case, it would make sense to just create a new tax rate and give it a new name. But if you accidentally entered the wrong information for a tax rate or tax group, and you really need to change it for jobs that it's applied to, then you'll need to unassign it from jobs before you can edit it. The best way to do that is to create a dummy tax rate and group and apply that to jobs so as to remove the real tax group from those jobs. Then you can edit the tax rate or group and then reassign them to the job. I'll demonstrate how to do that quickly. First, I'll create a tax rate called Zero Tax. Then I'll create a tax group called Zero Tax. And assign the zero tax rate to it. Then I'll go into the job that have that tax rate assigned, and I'll change it to the zero tax group. Then I can edit the real tax rate and group. If this seems like a lot of work to change existing tax rates or tax groups, it is, and this is so that you won't do it by mistake, only if you really want to. So that's probably more than you wanted to know about managing taxes in ContractorTools. This concludes the ContractorTools video on managing taxes. Thank you for watching.